Book 12. Difficult Choices. Soon our well-built ship, blown fast by fair winds, neared the island of the Sirens, and suddenly the wind died down. Calm came. Some spirit lulled the waves to sleep. The men got up, pulled down the sails, and stowed them in the hollow hold. They sat at oar, and made the water whiten, struck by polished wood. I gripped a wheel of wax between my hands and cut it small, firm kneading, and the sunlight warmed it, and then I rubbed it in the ears of each man in his turn. They bound my hands and feet straight upright at the mast. They sat and hit the sea with oars. We travelled fast, and when we were in earshot of the Sirens, they knew our ship was near and started singing. Odysseus, come here. You are well known from many stories, glory of the Greeks. Now stop your ship and listen to our voices. All those who pass this way hear honeyed song poured from our mouths. The music brings them joy, and they go on their way with greater knowledge. Since we know everything the Greeks and Trojans suffered at Troy by God's will, and we know whatever happens anywhere on earth. Their song was so melodious, I longed to listen more. I told my men to free me. I scowled at them, but they just kept on rowing. Eurylochus and Perimedes stood and tied me, even tighter, with more knots. But when we were well past them, and I could no longer hear the singing of the Sirens, I nodded to my men, and they removed the wax that I had used to plug their ears, and untied me. When we had left that island, I saw a mighty wave, and smoke, and heard a roar. The men were terrified. Their hands let fall the oars. They splashed down in the water. The ship stayed still, since no one now was pulling the slender blades. I strode along the deck, pausing to cheer each man, then gave a speech to rally all of them. Dear friends, we are experienced in danger. This is not worse than the time the Cyclops captured us and forced us to remain inside his cave. We got away that time, thanks to my skill and brains and strategy. Remember that. Come on then, all of you, and trust my words. Sit on your benches, strike the swelling deep with oars, since Zeus may grant us a way out from this disaster also. Pilot, listen. These are your orders. As you hold the rudder, direct the ship away from that dark smoke and rising wave, and head towards the rock. If the ship veers the other way, you will endanger us. They promptly followed orders. I did not mention Scylla, since she meant inevitable death, and if they knew, the men would drop the oars and go and huddle down in the hold in fear. Then I ignored Circe's advice that I should not bear arms. It was too hard for me. I dressed myself in glorious armour. In my hands I took 2 long spears, and I climbed up on the forecastle. I thought that rocky Scylla would appear from that direction, destroy my men. So we rowed through the narrow strait in tears. On one side Scylla, on the other shining Charybdis, with a dreadful gurgling sound sucked down the water. When she spewed it out, she seethed, all churning like a boiling cauldron on a huge fire. The froth flew high to spatter the topmost rocks on either side. But when she swallowed back the sea, she seemed all stirred from inside, and the rock around was roaring dreadfully, and the dark blue sand below was visible. The men were seized by fear. But while our frightened gaze was on Charybdis, Scylla snatched 6 men from the ship, my strongest, best fighters. Looking back, From down below I saw their feet and hands up high as they were carried off. As when a fisherman out on a cliff casts his long rod and line set round with oxhorn to trick the little fishes with his bait. When one is caught, he flings it, gasping back onto the shore. So those men gasped as Scylla lifted them up high to her rocky cave, and at the entrance ate them up, still screaming, still calling out to me in their death throes. That was the most heartrending sight I saw in all the time I suffered on the sea.